Hey everybody, I'm back. Every time I don't know why, but my brain always, whenever I don't leave the house, like whenever I do a video here and I'm supposed to leave, go do some work and then come back. But whenever I find myself still in the house, I feel like Tisha Campbell. I'm still here. Speaking of Tisha Campbell, I was gonna do a video the other day and include this, but I didn't. So I won't get into it too deep, but real quick. Tisha Campbell had scardosis, and I believe that that is what Bernie Mac had. And she was on a podcast. Let me pull it up real quick. And she said that since she uh, has been divorced or hasn't been married, they can't find it. She's basically in remission. I was like, wow. Um, I wasn't even going to bring her up, but see, my brain connected. I'm still here. But I'll just real quick. Tisha Campbell hints that divorce cured her sarcoidosis. I said that wrong. Says she's been in remission. Tisha Campbell's girl math is quite simple. Divorce plus no stress equals a drastic improvement when it comes to her health. The comedic actress recently appeared on the Mebo show with Shantae Diaz and confessed that finalizing her divorce from Dwayne Martin in 2020 led to her going into remission from sarcoidosis. Sarcoidosis. Everything helped, but I believe, I'm sorry, I have to tell the truth. I've been in remission for 4 years now. They can't find it at the base of my brain at all. I haven't gotten sick, not one time. I was so scared to get COVID because I thought if I get COVID, I'm going to die. Every cold took me to the hospital, every sniffle, allergies. It would just build up and I would get sick. But I have not been sick since I got a divorce. Realizing how that could be perceived, the 55-year-old quickly backpedaled. I don't mean no harm, she added, laughing. But when you have any type of disorder or anything like that, stress is a killer and connected to your body. Campbell has been battling the inflammatory disease, which causes growth in the lungs, eyes, and lymph nodes that can lead to eventual organ damage since 2001. She was diagnosed stage 1 sarcoidosis after having her son Zen while working on my wife and kids. One day I just could not breathe. It felt like an elephant was on my chest. Initially, the Martin Star assumed she had pneumonia, but after seeing lesions on her neck and arms, she went to her doctor. After a round of testing and getting a biopsy done of her lungs, she was diagnosed. Doctors informed her that they couldn't let it progress. However, the steroids she took to help caused its own set of health problems. The steroids bloat you. They make you very sick in other ways with your insulin and all kinds of stuff. So I was pre-diabetic and it just kept getting worse. When she had her second son, Ezekiel, she found out that her sarcoidosis developed into stage 2. It caused great concern because comedian Bernie Mac had stage 4 sarcoidosis and died from complications of pneumonia. He had the worst kind. He would be in between scenes getting oxygen, and I just didn't want to be that. I knew any type of stress adds on to any disease that you have. I just started working out really hard, despite the fact that I could not breathe at all. Since finalizing her divorce in 2020, her symptoms have subsided. So it makes you think. I remember when she had got pregnant and had started gaining weight, and people were talking about her body, and she was on steroids and battling this disease. So it's so crazy. You're on steroids to help this disease, but then it brings its own set of complications. And I'm paying more attention to my body the older I get, how it reacts to certain foods, certain medicines. If I'm on a certain medicine, how does it affect another part of my body? Because I'm realizing that although you may take medicine for one thing, it truly could affect something else. As a real quick example, so I didn't realize my body was essentially it felt like it was breaking down, child, in 2019. 2018, I was great. And on and off for years, I've been exercising since forever. I've always loved working out. When I was in high school, I asked my parents to get me a gym membership. I was in the weightlifting club. Then there would be periods of time where I took off, and then you feel things softening or not quite feeling how you want to feel. So I would jump right back in, right? Up until 2018, I was the same way. We were getting ready to go to New Orleans my brother-in-law lives in Mississippi, and we were going to go to New Orleans and Mississippi, and my in-laws were going too. And so I was like, oh, I got to get back on the routine. I got to be cute in my stuff and just mentally, because sometimes you need a mental break, right? Got back on doing what I was supposed to be doing. 2019, my father-in-law passes suddenly. And I remember like, it was literally like maybe a month after his funeral. I was like, what's going on with my hair? Not the edges, but like the hair behind the edges. What's going on? And then as the months progressed, I was eating literally a bag of Tums a day, and I'm not exaggerating. My husband can tell you it was back and forth between Tums, the blue bag with the soft chews, or the Alka-Seltzer chews. Um, Living on BC powder because I had a toothache or like headaches, just living like that, right? I got to the point where I could take the BC powders because that's crushed up aspirin straight down, no water, no nothing. And I kept noticing things going on with my hair, my energy, never really attributing it to anything, just like, oh, I need to do something, but always tired. So I go to a dermatologist and they give me these pills and say, your, what do they call it in your hair? What are the things that your hair grow out of? Y'all know what I'm talking about. Not pores, but the things that you got to have for your hair. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking. Anyway, she says they're not scarred. They're not gone. They're there. They're just closed a little. So I'm going to give you this medicine to take. And I really wished I had gone to a Black dermatologist who specialized in or Black hair, right? But I just went to a dermatologist. Again, and so I was like, okay, that's what it is. Something's going on. Never even thinking, well, why? Oh, I cannot believe I cannot think of what these are called in your hair, but y'all know. Never even stopping to think, what is the reason that they are closed? Something must be going on in my body for them to be, they just ain't, like within a couple months time, they just randomly closed. Cause I started my father-in-law's funeral, I was fine. And I say that because I remember doing my hair. I remember wearing this dress and it fit nicely. It was like, not it was great. I mean, the service was beautiful, but you know what I mean? Like things were flowing. And then all of a sudden in my body, like, wait, what's going on? I start taking these pills. Only thing she said was they're originally meant for heart pills. So you're going to pee a lot because it's to drain fluid from the heart. I remember a month, maybe 2 months into it, I had on these burgundy workout pants because this was in 2019 and I was driving for rideshare then. And I remember sitting down going, why are my workout pants so tight? This is crazy. Like, how did that just happen? I know I may have slowed down on working out, but I didn't stop. I was still what's going on? Another month goes by and I'm like, I'm feeling bigger. And probably the third month in or fourth month, I was in the bath. I had taken a break. I was in the bathroom at my, where we used to live. And I just Googled the name of what I was taking. And y'all, I found out it was a steroid. She never told me that it was a steroid, like a straight steroid. So then I Googled the name and steroid, and up came all of these different sites of people that had taken the medicine, realized for different things, acne, hair, realized that they were gaining weight. And when they came off, they were never able to lose the steroid weight. They went back to doing their regular stuff or whatever. And I had probably put on 25 or 30 pounds. Thank God now, as of 2024, it's finally off. But I know that's where it came from. And I know as you get older, but I just know, because I remember telling myself back then, as you're getting older, you just gonna have to put more effort. Like before I could work out a couple weeks, get rid of whatever. And if I didn't stay consistent, it would still hold on for a little bit. But I just knew now it's consistency, right? Because I'm getting older. But so I got off the medicine, what have you. But I say that to say here, I had taken this medicine to help one thing, my hair, which it didn't really. And it ended up affecting other parts, like my knees. I used to have to get a steroid shot. Well, I wasn't getting a steroid shot, but I noticed my knees would hurt, especially the right one every now and then. But then gaining that weight, putting that weight on them, I had to get a shot, but I was eventually able to get off that shot. I don't think I've gotten a shot for 3, maybe 2 years. Although yesterday I was jogging, I'm not going to lie. And I was like, maybe time to get a steroid shot. But Anyway, I say all that to say I took that medicine and was supposed to help one thing, and it affected something else totally different, which caused other issues. And I never got to the root of the problem, all to find out that every single thing in my body was, my iron was low. And I knew I was anemic, but it was like low, like almost single digits. My vitamin D was a single digit. Like I had to, so the doctor had to work with me to basically revive myself, if you will. But that going through that experience caused me to make sure I know what I'm putting in my body. I'm not against medicine because sometimes you got to take it, but I'm trying regular medicine and then also other things that also help. Like, for instance, I was getting heartburn, like I told y'all, consistently heartburn, to the point where I would drink water, y'all, and I could literally hear it in my belly. My belly would always be hot. I felt it would be like I had heartburn. People were like, oh, it's because you're getting older. Oh, it's because you're getting older. I'm like, no. So I started going to the doctors, forcing myself, because you feel weird at first telling your doctor, like, I've been doing my own research. Can you check for X, Y, and Z? Which now, by the way, I have a black doctor, me and my husband now, versus the woman that I had that I thought was kind of putting me on the right track. I mean, and she did in the beginning, but then a lot of my stuff was dismissed. But my black doctor is on it, on top of it with me and my husband. But anyway, I'm doing my own research, asking her, can you check for this? Well, can you check for that? Like, my body just feels out of whack. So I finally pushed to get my stomach x-rayed, and they find out that my stomach lining was gone, like completely gone, probably between living off of BC powders for trying to cure a headache or a toothache consistently and other stuff, Tums and self-medicating. My stomach lining was completely gone. So they did put me on a medicine that I Googled, looked up, and I wanted to make sure that not only did it stop heartburn, was it going to fix the underlying problem? And it did. It healed my stomach lining while at the same time helping with the heartburn. So I was telling my girlfriend and my mom, I was doing research, like sometimes you have little holes. Your stomach lining may still be there, but if you're experiencing heartburn all the time, it may not just be because you're getting older. You may have little holes in your stomach lining that can be healed through medicine, and you won't have to deal with it. So I don't know, that conversation led me somewhere different, talking about Tisha and taking care of her body. But I have realized that some things you may have to be on medicines, be on for life, and you know that they're helping you. But some things I feel like, especially in the Black community, we just always attribute to getting older and feel like we have to deal with it because we don't like doctors. Hello, me, never liked doctors, never really trusted, them. Just been like, okay. It wasn't until I had children that I realized you got to go to the doctors. But like I said, with my stomach. So now when I feel like my stomach is, if I'm having spurts of heartburn, I'm like, what's going on? Because I haven't been getting it, but it's not like constant like it was. So I was telling my girlfriend, it may not be just because you're 40 something. Something could be going on with your stomach lining. Push for an x-ray with your doctor for them to get it and see what's going on. So I'm glad that Tisha is better. I wasn't even going to come on here and talk about no Tisha Campbell, but again, my brain went from I'm still here because I haven't left the house to talking about her sarcoidosis and how she's in remission, and how being married, and I guess her marriage was contentious. Clearly, that stress flared up some stuff in her body, and now she's been in remission for 4 years since her divorce. So shout out to Tisha Campbell. She's looking really, 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 really good. Y'all, we just got to take care of our health and hold our doctors accountable for doing their due diligence when it comes to us. And like I said, demanding from the doctors, you need to do this, you need to do that. Because I know that was hard for me at first, because it was like, I already don't want to be here. And now I'm supposed to be pushing back at you, and you're supposed to know what you're doing. But realizing where I came from to that year or two of my life, and I just always felt ragged and run down and whatever, not knowing my body was like, my numbers were so bad in everything. My blood count, like it was just so bad. But now realizing the difference, I'm like, oh no, I'm always going to push. And I tell my kids the same thing. So y'all, let's take care of our health so we can be alive, child, be in the community. That sounded so we can be alive and be in community with each other. Moving on, let's talk about Stephen A. Smith. This is according to All Hip Hop, which I also want to give credit. I did see it on Ice Cream Conversations as well. Stephen A. Smith claims Will Smith owes Black community an explanation. Chris Rock is damaged. From the slap, or let me shut up. Stephen A. Smith claims Will Smith needs a conversation with the Black community about the Chris Rock Oscar slap. On Sunday, June 9th, the veteran sportscaster said he finds it difficult to watch Will Smith movies following the infamous 2022 incident. He claims that while Chris Rock may appear unscathed, making money and still working in Hollywood, in the age of mental illness, the comic is not okay. Chris Rock is damaged. He said during the latest episode of the Stephen A. Smith show, Chris Rock will never get over that ever. Did he tell you that? Like, how do you know that? He continued, Will Smith apologized. I'm not saying he even has to apologize. I'm saying that while I watch him and Martin Lawrence promoting this movie, and I'm quite sure the reason he hasn't addressed it is because the studios don't want him to. And there's an obligation that you have with them. All fair, I get it. But somewhere along the way, he has to sit down and talk to the Black community. You see all the white people around Will Smith all you want to. Black folks have loved and revered this man for decades. Stephen A. Smith insisted that he still loves the actor, but said he owes the Black community an explanation. You got to have a conversation as to why you did that. It's primarily us Black people that have loved and supported you and watched you go on an international stage and slap one of us in the face. A lot of folks ain't getting over that. A lot of folks find it hard to just go to the movies to watch you. I'm one of those people, and I never missed a Will Smith movie. Stephen A. Smith said. The First Takes host remarks came after Will Smith's Bad Boys Ride or Die surpassed projections, earning $56 million on its domestic opening weekend and $104 million globally. Posting a clip of Will Smith's discussion on social media, Stephen A. Smith promised to share some additional thoughts on his podcast. Will Smith don't owe me no apology, doesn't owe me anything. That's basically it. He doesn't have to have an apology for me. I saw a comment that said Stephen A. Smith owes the Black community an apology for thinking he's our spokesperson. I thought that was funny. Look, I'm not a fan of Chris Rock. I never have been. Before the slap, well, during, I feel like a lot of his stuff just always, I get comedians make jokes, and I'm not the sensitive type. Please believe you me. When it comes to jokes and stuff like that, I'm not sensitive. Sometimes I feel like I should probably be more sensitive. I'm not. But for me, I've just found that his comedy seems to put Black folks and Black women in general down. I just don't like his brand of comedy. I'm just not interested. And I don't know. No matter what you think about Will or Jada, one thing that I hated was when they wanted to Oscar So White. Remember that? And people were like, Jada's only mad because Will didn't get nominated. Probably, but a lot of movements come from something personally happening to somebody. Something personally happens to me. Now I'm aware, and now let's do this thing together. That's just the way it is, right? It shouldn't be that, like, it shouldn't always be that way. Like, we would love to live in a world where someone sees injustice to someone else and movements are started. But a lot of movements, things like that, especially with celebrities, start when something happens to them, right? But Chris Rock made a joke on stage, and I remember him saying, basically making the joke about, what was the joke? Like, him boycotting the Oscars is like him, Oscar So White is like him being invited to Rihanna's panties. Like, it wasn't going to happen. And I remember, for some reason, I remember the camera pointing at Sofia Vergara, and she's cracking up, mouth all open. And I'm thinking, the premise behind Oscar So White is because of the way that Black folks in that industry, their work is not recognized as it should be. It's always about white folks. And here you are, a Black man on stage, basically making fun of that. And the camera pans to, I know she's not white, but she ain't Black. But looking at her, so it pans to Sofia Vergara just cracking up laughing. And for that, just, it made me so mad. Like, here, this whole white audience is cracking up at you, Black man, this joke that you made about it. I don't know. It just rubbed me the wrong way. So I just never cared for Chris Rock. Like I said, way, way, way before the slap, like way, way, way before. But even if I did, Will Smith don't owe me, or I, in my opinion, don't owe me nor the Black community an apology. Moving on. Let's talk about this, y'all. According to Radar Online, rapper Foxy Brown wanted as star witness for Tupac murder trial as prosecutors build case against Dwayne Keefe D. Davis. Female rapper Foxy Brown is being wooed by prosecutors to be a witness in the Keefe D. murder trial of rap legend Tupac Shakur. Foxy Brown, born Inga DeGarla Fung Marchand, was in Las Vegas hanging out with Dwayne Keefe D. Davis, friends, on September 7th, 1996, shortly before Tupac was tracked down and pow-powed by a Southside Crip gang, prosecutors said. According to the U.S. Sun, the Clark County District Attorney's Office is building a witness list corroborating their case that Davis was in Las Vegas and planning the assassination. Several informants have told prosecutors that Foxy saw Davis and even interacted with him hours before Tupac's pow-powing. A Metro insider told the outlet, there are secret and delicate conversations going on about Foxy being a witness at the trial. She could prove vital in taking the stand or even making a statement about her recollection of being around the men who claim they were in her company for a short while before they set off to take Tupac out of here, they continued. Tupac fans have been seeking justice for the iconic rapper for almost 3 decades. Finally, in September 2023, a significant development occurred with the arrest of Keefe D. Keefe had been openly, I hope I'm saying his name. I don't know if I'm saying his name right. I'll say that. Keefe had been openly claiming responsibility for Tupac's unaliving for years. He detailed the events of the night that Tupac was pow-powed in his memoir, alleging that he passed the GUN to his nephew, Orlando Baby Lane Anderson, who fired the fatal shot. Keefe claimed that the motive behind the attack stemmed from an offer by rapper Diddy to eliminate Tupac and Suge Knight. So Sade trying to get Foxy to testify, saying that she hung out with some of Dwayne Keefe D. Davis's friends right before the unaliving of Tupac. I wonder if she's going to do it. I don't know. Let's move on over to Meghan McCain and Jennifer Lopez. She was not nice. Meghan McCain says Jennifer Lopez was deeply unpleasant on The View. So were you at times, Meghan. So were you. All right. Meghan McCain is not a fan of Jenny from the block. They crossed paths when Jennifer Lopez appeared as a guest on The View. I'm reading this from RadarOnline.com. And McCain remembers their interaction as being deeply unpleasant, RadarOnline.com has learned. I, too, share similar negative stories that the entire world does. I feel bad because we're turning a point where there's bullying happening to J-Lo, McCain revealed on Friday's episode of her Citizen McCain podcast with co-host Miranda Wilkins. She just is a deeply unpleasant person. She had the biggest entourage I've ever seen, more than Kim Kardashian and the president, the former View host recalled of J-Lo. I just really don't understand why it was needed. I was the host at The View. She was not nice. You don't always have to be so nice, but it was surprising that people like Kim Kardashian couldn't be more delightful. When you're coming on a show for a 10-minute segment, just fake it till you make it for 10 effing minutes. McCain also claimed that McCain also claimed that Lopez came after her podcast in April when she posted a TikTok declaring that the singer is in her flop era. She had our video taken down, McCain alleged, explaining that the video was eventually put back up. We're beefing with her right now, Wilkins said. A representative for McCain told Entertainment Weekly, we do not know how or why we received a violation notice. We pressed appeal and the video was reinstated a few hours later. Remember, there was a TikToker that recently passed away that did videos on J-Lo, and I believe her, and she made money from TikTok, which is how she took care of herself. And I believe allegedly J-Lo's people had her TikTok taken down. So it doesn't seem far-fetched for them to try to take down Meghan's video, but then the video was put back up. Meghan McCain's podcast guest, TV producer Carlos King, did stick up for Lopez. King said he's a huge J-Lo fan and got a much better impression of her when they met earlier in her career in 2001. She was so nice and she didn't have a big entourage, King recalled. Now, look, I'm not a dummy. She has since become like this global superstar. Meghan knows I love Vegas. I went to see J-Lo in Vegas and top 5 shows I've ever been to in my life. She performed and danced for 90 minutes straight, no break. She's a hard worker, and I was shocked that people weren't buying the tickets. Child, so Meghan McCain said that J-Lo was unpleasant and so very rude, so nasty and so rude while she was on The View. Carlos King has said he met her back in the early 2000s when she wasn't as much of a superstar and she was very pleasant. He's seen her in Vegas and it was one of the top 5 shows he's ever seen. When I tell you J-Lo is going through it, honey, J-Lo is going through it. And lastly, let's talk a little bit of Bravo. So Vanderpump Rules. A lot of people were very unhappy with the way some of the women on the show seemed to almost turn on Ariana. And I'm not going to lie, it did feel that way. After the show has come out and they got backlash, they have been on their podcasts seeming to backpedal, namely Scheana and Lala. Scheana has basically said, I'm paraphrasing, the reason that she was pushing or making sure she had a reconciliation with Sandoval was because the producers basically let them know, move forward with him or the show is going to be canceled because it's boring. So she had to make nice and she had to do certain things because the producers were telling them that basically they were going to be out of jobs if they didn't. So like a veiled threat. Side note to that, what's interesting is I've seen a lot of people say, well, Scheana should have the right to be able to move on with Sandoval. And she absolutely did. My issue with Scheana was, you want to make it right with Sandoval because he's been a good friend to you. Go ahead. However, to want to go to Ariana, who Sandoval cheated on with their mutual best friend, and say, I'm not sure what to do. He's changing. I want to make it right with him. Wrong audience. Wrong audience. Have that conversation with another one of your friends. I don't want you coming to me crying on my shoulder about the ex that cheated on me and humiliated me. That's all I'm saying. You have every right to, but don't cry to her about it. Cry to somebody else about it. That's it. But so Scheana has come out and took a swing at the Vanderpump Rules producers. Well, honey, the executive producer has now come out and spoke back. Fakery denied. Vanderpump boss rubbishes claims he gave cast specific talking points in mid-season crisis meeting. Rejects Scheana Shay's claim that he threatened to fire them. Alex Baskin, the head of Bravo's Vanderpump Rules, addressed recent claims made by cast member Scheana Shay during a panel dubbed Reality Producers Tell All. Shay alleged that Baskin had issued a veiled threat to the cast during the 11th season's production last summer, insinuating cancellation if improvements were not made. In response to Shay's statements, Baskin acknowledged the challenging situation of the mid-season and the impact of social media on the cast during Variety's TV FYC Fest in West Hollywood, California. He highlighted the need for the cast to focus on creating genuine content without manufacturing drama, emphasizing the importance of solidarity amongst the cast, noting a shift from their previous successful formula. We did get the entire cast together, and we thought we had hit a point in the season where I actually think that they were impacted by what was happening on social media. Baskin told the panel, we basically were telling them to drown out the noise and to make the show that they had made over the previous 10 seasons. And that didn't mean we asked them to manufacture anything. It didn't mean that we gave them any specific talking points. It just meant that we had made a show that worked because it was everybody rowing in the same direction and reacting to each other. And we've gotten away from that. So we thought that we had to intervene in that sense. According to Variety, the latest season of Vanderpump Rules began filming in late June 2023, following the scandalous revelation of the Sandoval affair between Tom Sandoval and Rachel Leviss. This affair, hidden during the previous season, brought turmoil and intrigue to the show, resulting in increased ratings and Emmy nominations. However, the aftermath of this scandal posed difficulties for the new season's production. Subsequently, Bravo announced a temporary halt in the production of Vanderpump Rules, awaiting a clearer perspective on the show's future direction. I wonder if Scheana got a phone call or if this is kind of like not good for her to come out swinging, saying that the producers basically pulled them all together and was like giving them talking points, and you got to do this and you got to do that, basically telling them to not be authentic, but do what you need to do for the show. And now the executive producer's coming out saying, absolutely not. That is not what we said. This is what we said. Child, it's getting sticky over there. Getting sticky. All right, y'all. I am logging off. My husband told me to take the day off. I'm 85% thinking about taking the day off, and then definitely getting prepped for my recording tomorrow. But y'all may see me back today with another video. Consistency was my word for June, like I said, in content creating and an exercise. So I need to be consistent. I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all later. Don't forget, y'all, come over to Instagram and follow me at WEIGO, WEIGO podcast. I'm also over there on Twitter by the same name. And please, y'all, subscribe to the audio version of the podcast. Go to wherever it is you listen to your podcast. If you don't know where to listen to podcast, go to Google, type in "What Else Is Going On" podcast with Taria. It'll pop up, and then click one of the links there. Or you can go to my Instagram, and there's a link in my bio, and whatever type of phone you use, it'll automatically take you to a platform that you can listen to the podcast on. So if you have an iPhone, and you click on it, it'll take you to iTunes. If you have an Android and click on it, it'll drop you off at hell for having an Android, and then it'll take you back up to another platform. I'm just kidding. Y'all, I'm just kidding. It was a joke. It was a little joke. I'm just kidding. All phones truly are the same. They just have different names. Android, iPhone. That's it. All right, y'all. I love y'all, and I will talk to y'all later. See ya.